Restaurants are empty, menus are smaller, and Americans are broke. For the first time since the pandemic, people are cutting back on eating out, not because they want to, because they cannot afford it. Even fast food isn't what it used to be. Half of it's just reheated Sysco food. And I got videos to talk about all that. So let's talk about how eating out became a luxury in 2025. So, what is going on? We're seeing that places, I'm in a shopping mall right here, cannot keep on functioning. They are literally collapsing in front of our eyes. Restaurants across the country are seeing fewer customers. And if you see fewer customers to keep the same amount of money going, you have to increase prices. So Chipotle just admitted foot traffic is down. Starbucks, McDonald's, Chili's, all in the same boat. It's not just the food, it's mid-tier and casual dinings are just getting crushed. People are tapped out, groceries are up, credit cards are maxed out, and paychecks don't stretch anymore. So I got a video showcasing what is going on, and let's watch this video and see what's truly going on.
Now to the economy, where there are troubling signs in the restaurant industry as consumers are tightening their belts and eating more at home. Elizabeth Scholze breaks down the numbers.
Hey, Rachel, the cost of going out to eat is up almost 4% over the past year, outpacing the price of groceries. And now some popular restaurant chains say that they are noticing customers pulling back. Salad chain Sweetgreen is the latest to sound the alarm about younger consumers, reporting that people between the ages of 25 and 35 dropped their spending by 15% in the last 3 months. Burrito maker Chipotle and the Mediterranean fast casual chain Cava made similar warnings about younger customers, pointing to the impact of inflation and student loan payments. And McDonald's, which can serve as a bellwether for the overall economy, says that lower income households are not visiting its stores as much. Now, all of this underscores a widening gap between higher income and lower income Americans. The top 10% of households right now account for almost half of all spending in the economy.
So we heard it. People aren't going out to eat because it's just expensive as crazy. And so the math just doesn't math up when you have Chipotle bowls that are marketed as $8 that are going to cost you, once you're all said and done, about $20. A combo meal costs $18 with taxes, and then they always try to add some tip on there. The average American is really, really tapped out. And I made a poll yesterday asking you guys, are you still going out like before? And 18% said, yeah, I'm still going out a few times a week. I eat out regularly. 34% said once or twice a month, only for special occasions. 10% said only takeout or delivery. And 38%, almost 40% said, nope, it got too expensive. And one of my channel members said, eating out twice a week, since service isn't good anymore, food isn't as good as it used to be, restaurants don't care anymore, they seem to be burnt out. And this is what I'm talking about. People are fed up, they can't do it, and this is another reality of what is going on in the food industry. People are saying they taste the same, I can't make it anymore, and we're like, you know what? I'm just not gonna do it. I'll start eating at home because the food portions, their marketing, it's just off brand. And if you go to Chipotle, you go to any of these places, you will see what I'm talking about. So let's watch another video here of of the news actually interviewing the CEO of Chipotle and him basically trying to justify his high prices.
When's the last time you ate at Chipotle? Turns out less people are, especially a key demographic for the company, and it's starting to hurt the chain.
We've seen a pretty sizable step down in the consumer that's under $100,000 in annual income. Specific to that is a group that 25 to 34-year-old, which we over-index to, has pulled back measurably.
People making less than $100,000 a year make up about 40% of the company's total sales, and Chipotle is admitting it leaned a little too heavy into this group. The chain's traffic fell in Q3 and it cut its growth forecast for the third quarter in a row. But is slowing traffic a Chipotle problem or an industry problem? The short answer is Chipotle isn't the only chain getting hit by the fast casual slowdown, but analysts say it could have a value perception problem. Chipotle execs said while its burritos and bowls average about $10, many consumers assume they're closer to $15. Analysts also point to broader macroeconomic trends as an issue. Many restaurant chains have suffered the last few years as high inflation led people to eat out less. Chipotle CEO Scott Boatwright, focused on younger diners, says unemployment, student loan payments restarting, slower wage growth, and inflation are all weighing on consumers.
We believe that consumers now eating at home more often, not necessarily eating with our competitors. They're just spending considerably less in restaurants.
At the same time, costs for ingredients are going up, and Chipotle warned this could impact margins as it's not planning on passing along those increases to its customers. As the chain tries to navigate these challenges, its CEO says it's focused on better communicating that it's still a good value.
Value as a price point is not our strategy. It never has been. We're reimagining our marketing messaging and how we target the consumer to really talk about the Chipotle value.
You see in this video, and the comment sections are blowing up. They're saying that it's closer to 20, not 15. I have half a teaspoon of chicken, and they pay me $5 for another half a scoop. It's definitely not 10. When have you ever seen a $10 Chipotle bowl? So let me know in the comments below if you've seen a $10 Chipotle bowl, because these days are gone. Last time I went with a client of mine, and we went to Chipotle to get something on the way to the job site, I think I spent $44 on Chipotle, and this was just absolutely crazy. And it was for 2 bowls with a drink and some guac. So absolutely bananas. But this is what people are saying. I'm not going to spend $40 at that at Chipotle. It just doesn't make any sense. And now let's look at the illusion of eating out. And when you're eating out and you're going to these fast casual places, you're going to restaurants, a lot of places get their food from Sysco. And if you don't go out, then you don't know about this. But most restaurants, even nice ones, don't cook from scratch anymore. These days are gone. They order pre-cooked meals, sauces, desserts from Sysco. They're paying $25 for something that was microwaved, plated, and then called house made. And this is reality for so many people. The illusion of dining out is gone. And this is why people complain and say, oh, everything tastes the same, because they got the microwave in the back, and all of a sudden they just pop it in the microwave and say, hey, this is homemade sauce, because they add some mushrooms to the sauce that they've cut up, and all of a sudden it is called homemade. And when you go into the back, you see, actually, it's all from Sysco delivered. So yeah, if you want to avoid that, you got to go to your local spot. But even your local spot might have everything ordered from Sysco. So let's look at this woman that was working in the restaurant industry, and she's basically talking about what is going on with Sysco and the food industry.
People just now finding out that like all appetizers are just from Sysco. I've worked in probably 15 different restaurants, and I've seen the same boxes at every one of them. Different states, doesn't matter. It doesn't explicitly say on the menu like cheese from this farm, greens from this farm, from this place. If it's not being advertised that it's local, it's probably from Gordon Foods, Sysco, Chef's Warehouse, Restaurant Depot, one of the things. Not just fried apps, which are definitely the most common things that are bought through Sysco, but desserts, because they don't want to pay for a pastry chef, breads, because they don't want to pay for a baker. Also, a lot of soups, sauces, ranch bases, pretty much anything that they can cheap out on, they will cheap out on. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It would be nice if restaurants had all this kind of money to spend on local farms and support their local economy. And, we all eat really great food from these local farms, but a good chef knows how to take cheap ingredients, turn them into something good, or you can use the cheap ingredients and highlight something better, save your money in certain places in order to buy something really good, really ethical, and really delicious. But it's the unfortunate truth of the restaurant industry. Same thing for bartending. A lot of places use mixes that are all from the same place. All going to taste the same.
So yeah, you heard her. She said they're all going to taste the same because they come from the same manufacturer. They mass produce it, and then they serve it to you and charge you a lot of money. But this isn't the only thing that is absolutely wrong when it comes to food. It's a tipping culture. Tipping culture is out of control. You buy a muffin on the go, they'll flip the screen and tell you, hey, can you leave a 25% tips for what? For bagging it up and handing it out the window? It's not even about service anymore. It's about guilt. And I have a picture on here where they're basically putting a sticker over the screen saying that you should tip something. And so they're basically guilt tripping you into tipping. So it's not about service. And for a lot of people, that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. We've turned basic convenience into a moral test. Tipping or feel like a bad person? Let me know if you felt like that. I sure have. And sometimes they flip it over and just say, you know what, it is time for you to tip. And yeah, and then they have 25, 30%. It is absolutely crazy. And this is not it. They are doing it at self checkouts where they say, hey, come on, tip a little bit. And you did everything yourself. They didn't even have to clean the plates because they you had to pick it up at the counter. You went to the counter and ordered, and then they asked, hey, would you like to add a tip? And I got one right here where you basically pick it up from Chili's, and I looked at the prices and on the screen here, and it's basically asking you, hey, how much do you want to tip? And do you want to donate? So they just add an automatic 20% on there because why not, right? And so middle class is getting squeezed out. So the bigger picture is that this isn't about eating out. It's about how broke America become. The average household has less than $1,000 in savings. Credit card debt hits 1.3 trillion this year, a new record. People can't afford groceries, let alone a fast casual dining restaurant experience. The middle class finally starts treating fast food as a luxury. The economy collapsed in real time. And I went out to the Pepper Club in Las Vegas. If you're ever in Las Vegas and you want to experience some real good food, between 4 and 5 o'clock, they got pasta happy hour. So it's $8 for all kinds of pasta. So I asked the server at the Pepper Club, and it's a really good restaurant. I asked him, "Do you heat up Sysco food, and have you experienced that in the past at any of your places you worked at?" He said, "Not at this place, but in the previous, yes." And he said that every restaurant orders from one of these big distributors. So if you're going to a place and you're like, I don't want Sysco food, I want something culinary, I want something good, you gotta look at how many pages the menu has. When you go to the Cheesecake Factory and they have like a Bible things you can order from the menu, there's no way they can make that from scratch. So they get it in bulk, they heat it up, and then they serve it to you. And so if you want to go to a place that actually makes it fresh, they only can do one or two things, like one or a few things, right? And so you got to make sure that the menu is super small and then it is homemade or made at the kitchen. And he also said that if you're going to go to a restaurant and you're going to go to, let's say, a crab place, if you're going to order the chicken, it's not going to be good chicken because that's not what they're focused on. So make sure you go to a place that they're really focuses on. If you're going to go to the Pepper Club and you're going to get their pasta, it's phenomenal. But if you're going to order something else that they just have on there to please some other guests that are just along for the ride, they got to have that too. So keep that in mind when you're going to go and eat out. But yeah, it is just an emotional roller coaster. We're living in times where eating out once was a normal part, and now it's a financial decision. And I remember in the early 2000s where my family used to go to Pizza Hut and had phenomenal pizzas. If you remember those days where you go to the buffet and it was like phenomenal pizza. Pizza Hut was probably number one pizza in the town that I used to be. And it was just so amazing, but it was expensive, so people couldn't afford it all the time. So instead, we went to CC's Pizza, and I checked. I went to this one off of Del Prado all the time. And I remember I looked at it, it's like, man, it is $4.90. I think that's what we paid around the early 2000s. Now, all of a sudden, it is $12, $13. So all of a sudden, they tripled in price. And I don't know if the quality went up. Uh, I think the other way. The quality went down. So this is what we're dealing with. Increased prices with quality decrease. It is tipping the scale in the wrong direction. So next time you walk by an empty restaurant, remember, it's not just about the food. It's about a country running out of money. And we're in it, and I'm seeing it all the time. People are messaging me saying, I'm strapped. I don't know if I'm going to lose my job. Federal workers aren't getting paid back pay. And some of these places for these federal workers, they even said, nah, we're just tack on the late fee. Sorry, that's not my problem. And that's a you type of problem. And you're starting to see that, man, federal jobs, everything not so secure after all. And I'm telling you, if you're like, let's go eat out and do it, you gotta watch what you order because they rack up the fees. They have dishwasher fees now on the receipts. They have delivery fees. They charge you for a carton. They charge you for everything they can to just stay afloat. And even Chili's, even though the news says, oh, they're 20%, they're making more. No, they just increased prices, closed stores, and all of a sudden now it's like, okay, we're on track. Because I've always said this in my previous videos, if you're making hamburgers and you sell them for $5 and you sell 20 of them, then if you double the price, you only need to sell half of them to keep the same amount of money going. And so if you're starting to raise prices and you price some of the customers out and the other customers are okay with it, and then you're still making the same amount of money. But once those pair of customers are priced out, then all of a sudden it is truly, truly not worth going out eating anymore, because it is just too expensive. The quality's not there. And how much do you really want to spend on a meal at a fast food casual joint where you're like, okay, this is worth it? But we're in 2025 where people are holding on, and it's like, man, what are we gonna do? So yeah, this is life for so many Americans where eating out becomes a luxury. And one thing that really helped me set up myself for success, when I lived in Santa Cruz, there weren't really any good restaurants that you can go out and eat at a regular spot. So you learn to cook at home. You start using the ingredients and you start noticing, like, man, if I'm cooking at home and I do all kinds of stuff at the house and I meal prep at the house, I'm making so much more money. I have so much more money every month. So yeah, my advice to you is go on YouTube, see how you can do some meal prepping, or find real good happy hours where you can go and get a beer where they're not going to charge you $20, $30 or $50 for a few drinks and a meal. Because if you're going to get charged 40, 50, $60 for a meal, at the end of the day, you don't even have money to pay your bills. And you can't do that every day. So the days that you went to Hooters and you got 25-cent wings and $1 beer, those days are gone. And I remember it because it was like right in my early 20s where those deals were around, where you got $1 beer, 25-cent wings, and man, happy hour was buzzing. Now, nothing. You can't even do it. And now, besides that Pepper Club, I only know one other spot where serves $8 really good pizza in town. Besides that, happy hour is dead. It's just another gimmick to get you to spend money, and it is not a good deal anymore. So yeah, this was it for this video. And as you're seeing, like in this mall where there's Buffalo Wild Wings, you're seeing Panda Express, and you're seeing all these fast food casual dining places, it is detrimental form. It is so crazy how they're trying to squeeze out every dollar from you because they need it to survive, or you will see them go out of business. And what do you do when you don't have the money and you're like, oh, let me get some fried chicken? What do? They're gonna skimp out on changing that oil. They're gonna skimp out on quality chicken. And so you're gonna see that quality goes down. And if you're like, ooh, I still can't make it, last resort, you raise prices, and all of a sudden people are like, man, it tastes like shit now, and I'm getting priced out way too much. And so you're gonna be like, I'm not gonna go back there. And all of a sudden you see restaurants closing, servers are being unemployed. In Vegas, for all these people that are always like, oh, Vegas, 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 how's Vegas doing? Vegas did that exact mistake that I said. They thought that, oh, we got a monopoly on gambling, we got all this other stuff going on, so let's just keep increasing prices with fees. And comes to find out that that wasn't the case. And now you see the disaster happening in Vegas. You see it in your area, because if you're not going out eating and you're not stimulating your own economy, people will find alternatives, and the alternative is cooking at home. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.